Hello, friends. I hope you're out wandering through nature, exploring the natural world around you. Do you enjoy writing about your wanderings? Nature journaling is an awesome, fun way to remember all the adventures you have taken and how you felt during those journeys. If you're looking for some beautiful journals to keep track of all your wanderings, I have several available on Amazon, including some guided journals for children. Start your journey in journaling by clicking on the link in the show notes. Keep exploring the nature around you and keep journaling all your wanderings. Hello, friends, and welcome to the Forest Connection. I'm Paul, your host, and I am just entering the woods, and I am walking real slow. Yeah, 'cause this podcast is about relaxing, unwinding, slowing down. I'm going to stress that all the time, every week. I'm going to stress about slowing down, starting to absorb more of nature. So today, I'm out in the woods, and of course, I'm encouraging you to do what I'm doing. Get out in the woods, and a lot of times when I'm out in the woods, I'm just hiking. I mean, my wife and I, we go for a lot of walks, a lot of hikes. And we'll find a path in a natural area, and we hike and hike and hike and hike. And then when we get out of the woods and we look at our, phones to see, how far we went, because both of us have apps. She actually has her Fitbit on her wrist, and it's like, oh, we did this many miles. It's like, yeah, I do that all the time. A lot of people do that. I see people hiking, jogging, and a lot of the preserves that I go in, a lot of the parks, and it's like, that's what we do. We're always in a hurry. And we don't understand then why we get so stressed out. And the reason is because we don't take time to slow down. And that's what this podcast is all about. I mentioned that in the first episode, is we're going to learn to slow down and actually connect with nature, get that reconnection with nature. And that's what I'm doing today. I'm out in the woods. I encourage you, if you don't have a park or some natural area with woods, you can do this in your backyard. The only thing you need for today's episode is a tree. Now, if you're like me and you do have some good woods around you. I have a lot of places I go where there's some really good woods, and then you can choose your trees. You get lots of trees. And we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes, but I just want you to know that this is what we're doing today, is we're getting out in the woods. We are connecting with nature. So get your hiking boots, grab your hiking stick, or just sit by your window, go in your backyard. I don't want you to be discouraged because you don't have access to the same places I do. You can do this right in your own backyard in a local park. You can just get outdoors, get away from the electronics, get away from the TV, turn your phone off for a little while. Leave it behind. I love doing that when I'm in the woods. I just turn my phone off, go into the woods, and just absorb nature. So let's get started with our connecting with the natural world. So once again, I'd like to thank you for joining me today. Obviously, if you are listening to this podcast, you need time to unwind, to reconnect with nature, to get the stresses out of your life. Oh my God, I've been so stressed out lately. I have had so much going on. planning a vacation. I'm trying to put some YouTube videos together. I've got all these other little projects that are on my plate. Things that I want to do and things I need to do. And it's like, it just seems to be piling on, and yet I still have to. You may say I want to, but I have to find time for me as well. So usually in the evenings, my wife and I, that's our time to just unwind. Put all the electronics away, forget about all the chores, the things we need to do, and let's just enjoy ourselves. We'll sometimes just go out someplace, go to one of the local breweries or something, and we'll sit out on their patio and just enjoy a drink and relaxing on their patio. So I encourage you to do the same. Just find some time for you. It doesn't have to be going out someplace. You can just make sure that you put everything else aside. I recall the other day, my wife and I don't remember where we were, but I was noticing this guy outside of where we were. I think we were at a restaurant or something, but I noticed this guy, and he was like on his phone, and he just was on his phone the whole time. And while we were in this place, he's like walking back and forth past the window, and he's on his phone the whole time. Then there was another guy who was sitting there on his phone also, just checking out messages or whatever, I don't know, texting. But it's like, guys, relax. Take some time off. And so that's what we are going to do today. I'm in the woods. Going to be connecting with a tree. And you're probably like, what? Connecting with trees. I mean, they're living things. We always forget that everything around us is living. The plants, the trees, the water, the insects, the animals. I'm hearing chirping. I don't know if you can hear that in the background. The insects, the birds, they're a little quiet today. But I heard them earlier when I was out in the field. So everything is alive around us, including the trees. So the trees actually communicate with each other through an underground network that they have, which I'll get into more in depth in another episode, but they can actually help each other. If one's sick, they give nutrients to another through their roots, through this underground network. If one is dying, it will give its nutrients away because it knows that it's lived its life, it's done, and it starts giving help to the others. They send out messages to each other. So the trees are very active, they're very alive. And I mean, we used to, many years ago, be able to connect with the trees. Now we've lost that connection. So I'm encouraging you today, and this is what I'm going to do, is to reconnect with the trees. Now I'm waiting for an invitation, and I know it may seem strange to say that, but trees are not going to talk to me, but, well, maybe they do in their own roundabout way. Maybe they're telling the bird up in the tree, hey, let this guy know that I'm friendly and he can come up and talk with me. But basically what I'm talking about with an invitation is find a tree that just draws you in. I'm walking really slow. Really slow through the woods. A lot of times when I'm doing the podcast on a walk somewhere, you can hear me breathing a little bit heavier than usual. I always hate that when I'm editing the podcast and I can hear myself and I sound like I'm a little winded. And well, today you're not going to get that, other than talking too much here. But the reason is because I'm going real slow. Okay, I'm relaxed. And I'm just looking around through the woods, listening to the crow calling. And all of a sudden, you may find as you're walking through the woods, a tree just calls to you. Whether it's, because it's a really big tree, or maybe the fungus, maybe it has this really awesome markings on it. Maybe it's a type of tree that you've always loved. I always love when I'm doing orienteering and on the map episodes, a distinctive tree. Well, that's what we're talking about. It's a tree that just stands out to you. It doesn't have to be a huge tree. It could be a small tree, but it's a tree that actually stands out to you. And so I'm just casually walking through. I'm absorbing everything right now. Got a little bit cool day. Temperatures took a turn in the past week. They got really chilly for this time of year, but there's a slight breeze going through the trees. I can hear the leaves rustling above me, and the birds are calling. And some people will actually do this and I've done this before too, where I'll just stand still. Now, don't do this if it really kind of frightens you, but stand still and close your eyes. And listen, feel the wind, feel the energy. Okay, I'll get into energy in another episode. That's real in-depth. But do you feel drawn in a certain direction? If you do, slowly, remember your eyes are closed, slowly turn in that direction. And is it still drawing you? What was it about that sound? Was it just, an inner sense? And then slowly open your eyes and look what's in front of you. Maybe it's in the distance. I'm seeing this really awesome tree that's just calling me right now, so I'm going to walk over to it. It's a little bit off the trail, but once again, I'm not in a hurry, just taking my time. You got all day to do this. Don't worry, I'm not doing a long podcast. Watch the prickers. I get a lot of prickers here, but this tree is just calling to me. Watch where you step. You don't want to step on any endangered species of plants or anything like that. And it doesn't matter the type of tree. This tree just kind of drew my attention. It called me over to it. It's an interesting tree. It's had a tough life. I can tell that because about 15 feet off the ground, I'd actually say, probably about 20 feet off the ground, it comes to a Y. And two big trunks. The trunk splits into two trunks, and the one trunk is dead. There's actually bark peeling off the one side of this tree, a lot of woodpecker holes in the side. Where the bark is peeled off, I can see the insects have been making their marks in it. And that whole branch, about 5 feet from the Y, is gone. That whole trunk, I should say. But on the other side, if you looked at this tree from a distance, which I would have assumed it was dead, but it was calling to me. And the other side is very much alive. It's actually way up into the canopy, lots of leaves on it, and there's a little section where a branch fell off many, many years ago, and it left a little crevice in the tree, a little pit, and it's filled up over the years with dirt, and there's actually a plant growing out of it. So this is my tree for today. Now, what I'm going to do is I want to connect with this tree. I want to get to know the tree. And the first thing I did when I first walked up to it is I put my hand on it. Now, a lot of times I'll ask the tree if I have permission. Do I have permission to put my hand on you and to hold you and be next to you and talk to you? And And sometimes it won't do anything, but you can usually sense it. You know, remember, this is a living thing. I talk to my dog. My dog, you know, I can't understand it, not its language, but from the way it acts, the way it feels, from its energy, I can understand it. So communicate with the tree. And you may think I'm getting a little bizarre here, but try it. You'll understand. These crows around me really want to communicate with me. And what I'm going to do now, I want to get to know this tree. It did give me permission. I felt it was okay. Touching its bark, feel it. Get to know it. Okay? If you want, close your eyes and just touch the bark. See what it feels like. And when was the last time you felt the bark of a tree? You know, run your hand up and down it if you want. You know, feel the little, there's a little nub on the side of this one. And touching that. Feel its temperature. Feels a little bit chilled. I'm going to go around to the side that has all the woodpecker holes and the bark is missing. And yeah, that does. I'm not pushing on it. It's still pretty solid. Now, next thing I'm going to do, and sometimes I'll bring my blanket with me. Don't bring anything made of rubber, okay? You want to be grounded. So I'm going to sit next to this tree. And what I like to do, and you can do this too if you want, I encourage it, put your back up against the tree. That allows you to have this, more of this connection with the tree. You can imagine yourself being part of the tree. And that's what we're doing, is we're connecting with the tree. I mean, there's lots of trees around me, but this is the one that called to me. And maybe on another visit I'll go to one of the other trees. Now make sure you approach the tree. And when you first approach the tree, hopefully you approached it with respect. You know, pause, which I did. I didn't mention it, but I did pause before I touched the tree. And introduce yourself. You can do it silently. You know, you can do it out loud. Say, hey, tree, nice to meet you. I'm Paul. And then, like I said, notice the details. The texture of the bark. Maybe the leaf shape. Okay, I know what species of tree this is, but it doesn't really matter. We're not trying to name it. We're just trying to get to know the tree. I mean, its species is basically a name we've given it to. So the tree doesn't care. It knows its own kind. So don't worry about finding out exactly what type or species the tree is. It doesn't matter. But notice the leaf shape. Are there roots sticking out of the ground? I'm looking around me and no. This does have a lot of fallen wood around it from the part that fell off. Now, I'm not seeing much of that. There is a little bit, but a lot of it is already rotted away. So it's happened quite a while ago. Notice any scars on the tree? Notice the way it's standing in the forest. I mean, mine is pretty straight. This tree is pretty straight up. The branch does go off, but that's just the way it has grown over the years. You know, there isn't a lot of wind. I'm in the middle of the woods here. If you're towards the edge, you might notice your tree is leaning a little bit. Or if you're doing this in your yard and there isn't a lot of wind protection. Remember, that tree had to grow against the wind, pushing on it all the time. My old house, I used to live up on top of a hill, and it was always windy, which is why I ended up buying a wind turbine. But the trees on the property were always leaning. And the reason is because they had to grow with this wind pushing on them constantly. Now, as you're sitting at the base and you have your back up against it, or if you don't want to sit on the ground, that's fine. This is all about your connection. I mean, I'm just telling you what I enjoy doing. I like sitting next to the tree because I'm connecting with the ground too, where the roots are. But I'm also have my back against the tree, so I'm connecting with the tree. But if you're not comfortable doing that, that's fine. Just stand next to the tree. Put your hand on it. I mean, I'm leaning up against it, but I'll put my hand against the tree, the base of the tree also, where one of the roots is starting to come out. Big, heavy root. Now place your hand, sit against it, and take a deep breath. Just relax. Slow down. So I just like to, and you'll hear me do this constantly. Whenever I'm coming into the woods, I will often stop. And I take a deep breath in and a longer, slower breath out. And I'll do that like 3 or 4 times before I even come into the woods because it relaxes me, clears my head, gets all those stresses and, oh, I've got 10 million things to do. It gets that all out of my mind. It clears my mind. And now that I'm sitting at the tree, I like to do that too. So I'll do that. And I'm imagining, as I'm doing that, an exchange of the energy between me and the tree. So I imagine, my back being connected to the tree, and the tree listening to me. Now as you're leaning against the tree and connecting, what feelings do you have? What are your thoughts while you're with this tree? Are you thinking about how old it is? What it's been through? Like I said, my tree has had damage. He's had a tough life. What are you feeling? What's the connection you're having with this tree? Don't make any judgments. Just bring your awareness to the tree. If you want, you can bring a journal with you, a small pad or a journal and a pencil, and write down your thoughts. Don't use your phone. You can, but I always encourage just turn your phone off when you come into the woods. That way you don't get any messages. If you do want to use your phone for journaling, turn off the ringer, turn off messages, turn anything off that's going to disturb you on the phone. You don't need that now. Now you may wonder, why connect with a tree? Well, there's a lot of advantages to it. I mean, scientifically proven advantages. Yes, science is real. And if you have a tree companion, it actually provides grounding during stressful times. You can come back to the same tree time after time, or go to a new tree, one that calls to you. It allows you to stop, slow down, which reduces stress. There's also a lot of healing benefits being around trees, being in the forest, which we'll talk more about in another episode, but just briefly, phytonicides. Phytonicides are aromatic compounds that the tree releases, that as we breathe it in, I mean, it's all throughout the forest. You just can't see it. But as we're breathing the air in, these phytonicides are in that air that we're breathing in. And it actually helps to boost the human immune function. It reduces cortisol, which is a stress hormone. And even though there's been a lot of scientific data, I have seen this happen myself. It improves the mood. When I'm in a bad mood, I go for a hike in the woods and I come out and I'm just like, what was I so upset about? Why was I in a bad mood? Studies also show that being in the woods, being around trees, doesn't have to be in the woods, can be in your backyard, just next to a tree. It actually has been proven that it lowers blood pressure, slows the heart rate. It actually helps you digest too. It's good to go into and sit next to a tree or near a tree after you eat. Being near trees restores attention and focus. And that really helps in these overstimulating environments that we put ourselves in these days. And one of the best things when you're with a tree and you've made that connection with the tree is they're really, really good at listening. Yeah, just talk to the tree. You're having problems, you have stresses at home, you have stresses in your life, talk to the tree, talk them out with the tree. I have found that trees are great listeners. They don't judge, they certainly won't interrupt you. So they are great to just talk to. And you may think, well, they're not really listening, they're inanimate. Remember, they're a tree, they're alive, they're a living thing. And I believe they listen. You know, I believe they can talk to you if you have the right connection. Now, I encourage you to sit here as long as you wish. You know, I usually like to do this little practice every so often, every once in a while, especially when I've got a lot stressing me out, a lot going on in my life. I feel hurried, I feel rushed, I feel like crazy stress. And like I was saying earlier, I've been getting to that point recently where I've been feeling the stress in my life, and I don't like it when I get stressed because that's when I usually end up getting sick, which I'm not getting sick yet, but if I keep the stress up, I know I will. So I needed to get out in the woods, and this is one of my favorite things to do, is just find a tree, lean up against it, relax, talk to the tree, talk about all my stresses to the tree. You know, and I usually find that doing that for an hour or two even, you know, it really, really helps. Now, of course, I'm talking to you, but after I'm done recording this episode, I'm still just going to sit here and talk to my tree, talk about everything that's been stressing me out. Those birds aren't. They may be annoying you in the background. The crow's going crazy. I don't know what's bothering them. Maybe it's me being in the woods here, but they're moving further away, so I don't think it's me. I think they're just being crows. And that's sometimes what crows do. So I've got some other birds above me too. See, that's what I mean. Just take it all in. But anyhow, I'm going to be doing this for a while. I'm encouraging you to do it. Sit here as long as you want. This is why I told you to leave your phone at home or turn it off at least. It's always nice to have your phone with you, just in case of an emergency. But at least turn it off, or turn the parts of the phone off that are going to annoy you. Yeah, turn off the ringer. Turn off the vibrate for messages and all too. Because you know if it's vibrating, you know you're going to want to answer that message. Your curiosity gets to you. So turn all that stuff off. You know, or turn your entire phone off and just turn it on if you need it. But sit here for a while. Now remember, when you come into the woods and you find your tree, you can come back to the same tree. Maybe it's one that really has a lot of pull with you. You have a good connection. And sometimes it's good to come back to the same tree so that you can give it more time. You can build a stronger connection. It's like with a friend. A lot of times, hopefully it's a good friend, if you spend a lot of time with them, your relationship gets stronger. You start to understand each other. I mean, it blows my wife and my minds away sometimes when we know exactly, without speaking, we know exactly what the other is thinking, exactly what the other is talking about. It's funny how one of us will say something, have an idea, and the other's like, oh my God, I was just thinking that, And that's because we've been together for so long. Well, same thing with trees. I mean, a tree, I can't stress this enough, it's a living thing. So that tree, get a stronger connection. The longer you visit that same tree, the more connected you'll be. Or you can go and find a new tree. Maybe another tree in a different area. I mean, I'm in a lot of different woods all the time. I have a couple of trees in my yard too that I connect with now and then. I try to share. I don't want one getting jealous of another. But I have different trees, and sometimes I find new trees. So I encourage you to either come back to the same tree time and time again, or find a new tree. Bring a journal with you. Sit there and journal what you're feeling. Your connections with the trees. And especially slowing down. Now, when you do feel that you've had that strong connection with the tree, you're ready to leave, ready to get back to your life, hopefully more relaxed now, more comfortable with your day. Hopefully all the stresses will be gone. And if they do come back, hey, come back to your tree or a different tree. But don't forget everything that the forest and the tree has done for you. And thank it. Show it gratitude. I often, and this is not necessary, this is just something I have done, and I usually try to keep doing it. If I know I'm going to be doing an exercise like this, okay, what I will do is I have a little pouch that I have, and I keep it in my car actually, but I bring that pouch with me when I do something like this. Inside my pouch I have some sage, and I usually sprinkle some sage around the roots of the tree. This is just a way to thank the woods, thank the tree, giving it gratitude for allowing you to be with it, spend some time with it. Thank it for giving you everything you need to be stress-free, and basically to thank the tree for everything. So I actually grind up some sage, and I have it in a pouch in my car, and like I said, I just sprinkle it on along the roots, and what I'm doing is I'm thanking the tree. I'm giving it thanks for giving me the energy and the strength and the everything I need to relax, and allowing me to connect with it and to connect back with nature. So I like to do an offering. You can just say thank you to the tree, that's fine. I usually give a physical gift as a thank you, but don't feel you have to. Like I said, this is your experience. You do as you feel fit. Well, I'd like to thank you for joining me today. I look forward to visiting with you again next week. Remember, every other week is a guided meditation, and the opposite weeks are some form of getting out in nature and connecting with nature. So be sure to join me again next week and learn more about the forest connection and how you can support the podcast by visiting the show notes. So get out and connect with nature. Hey there, fellow nature wanderers. If you're like me, you love spending time outdoors, breathing in that fresh air and connecting with the natural world. But at home, have you ever thought about what's in the products you use every single day? That's why I'm excited to share Apple Valley Natural Soap with you. Their handcrafted all-natural soaps are made with organic ingredients, essential oils, and no harsh chemicals. Awesome! So they're not only great for your skin, but they're safe for the planet. And they don't just stop at soap. Apple Valley Natural Soap also carries a full line of natural skincare products, including shampoos, body butters, facial bars, and more. All designed to nourish your skin without synthetic ingredients. You can't beat that. That's just awesome. Whether you're hiking in the woods or just winding down after a long day, their products bring a little bit of nature right into your home. And the best part? By supporting Apple Valley Natural Soap through the Nature Wanderer, you're also supporting this podcast. Just head to the show notes and click on the link for Apple Valley Natural Soap. So go ahead, treat yourself and the environment to something better. Your skin and Mother Nature will thank you. Now let's get on with our adventure.